So firstly, what is Toggle? Well, you can think of Toggle as a smart investment dashboard, kind of like Google Maps. We're not trying to push you in any direction to buy or sell an asset. We're just trying to show you all the different trading opportunities that are there around you based on data. And the way we do this are through insights. As you can see, all these little boxes, they all relate to insights. You can think of an insight as a way for the system to communicate with you about an event, the effect of that event, and what the system predicts could be a potential price of an asset based on historical performance. And why would anyone use Toggle? Well, there are three main reasons why anyone would use Toggle. First reason, idea generation, looking for new trading ideas. Secondly, risk management, being informed about an insight that is relevant to an asset you're interested or invested in. And lastly, investment due diligence, really taking a look at what the data is saying before jumping into a trade. So to first start with idea generation, let's talk about the Explore page. So the Explore page is great for idea generation because using our filters on the left side here, you can really filter down insights to meet a specific criteria which relates to you. For example, if you're a long trader looking at assets that are have a bullish direction, or if you're a short trader looking at assets that have a bearish insight direction. We'll talk about stars in a second, but you can think of stars as more stars is better. We actually award stars based on an insight quality checklist. So if it meets all of our eight conditions, then the insight is given 8 stars, meaning it's the best insight we have to offer. Looking at return profile, are you looking at earning a specific return, a specific asset class, the instrument you're interested in investing in? And something really exciting that we've just recently added is we've expanded our geography filter. So rather than just looking at assets in a specific continent, we've expanded that now so you can specifically look at assets in a country itself. So if you're only interested in the Indian stock market or Indian assets, you can click India. If you're looking at assets in the Australian markets, you can click Australia, Asia, Mexico, rest of the world. We've really done this so that you can really hone down on insights that are relevant to you as an investor. Continuing on, looking at insights in a specific horizon. Are you looking for a 1-week trade idea, a 2 to 3 month trade idea, or something as long as 6 months? And then the driver. This is basically one of the reasons why someone would use Toggle is to understand what is really driving an asset's price action. Is it something fundamental based? Is it momentum based? Is it technically based? Or is it based on the macro picture? And based on the kind of investor you are, you can select a driver that interests you. Continuing on, looking at different market cap stocks. Are you interested in a specific market cap, or are you interested in a specific sector? And when you select these, what the system does is it narrows down all the insights to meet the criteria that you've selected. Before we go in and do that, just a little bit of information. If you want to read up about anything that you're unsure about, you can just hover over the little question mark in the blue circle, and there's a little write-up there to explain exactly what that piece of information is about. So that's idea generation. That's looking for a trade idea. The second reason why someone would use Toggle is for risk management. And the way you can do that is by informing the system what exactly you're invested in. And there are 2 ways to do this. And you can find both ways up here. Once you log on, go to the top right and click My Account. When you do that, you're given 2 options on the left side, a watch list or connecting your portfolio. By adding assets to your watch list, you're basically informing the system that, hey, these are assets which I'm interested or invested in, and these are the assets I want you to keep me notified about. You'll be notified through the application via email, and if you download our iOS app, through your phone as well. So when you log on, I'll clear up my watch list just to start from the beginning. So when you log on first and you update your watch list, this is the screen you'll see. You have 2 ways to add assets to your watch list. You can either search something up like Nike, or based on the questions you answered in your onboarding questionnaire, the system comes up with a few suggestions that it thinks of something you might be interested in. So I added Nike, I'll add Ethereum, and then let's add Alibaba as well. And once you've added assets to your watch list, hit save. And now the system knows that whenever an insight is released relating to any of these three assets, I will be notified via, through the application, the portal we're on right now, via your mobile app, or directly to your inbox. Another way to inform the system about assets you're interested in is by connecting your portfolio. There are two ways to connect your portfolio. One is if you have an IB account directly through Interactive Brokers, or if you're using a platform like Webull, Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, you can connect through Plaid. And if you want to learn a little bit more about how we protect your information, there's a little link at the bottom to learn more about that. As you can see, based on the top, it does say, please note that connecting the portfolio can be finicky. Since our portfolio integration is done through Plaid, there are some times when a connection may not work. If that is the case, just try again in a little bit. And if the problem continues, drop us an email and we'd be more than happy to help you out. The first time you connect a portfolio as well, you're given a choice to select your reporting currency. I selected US dollars. Make sure you select that correctly. And if you would like to change that as well, just drop us an email. We can figure that out. So once you've added assets to your watch list, how do you keep track of them? So two ways to keep track of insights relating to assets on your watch list. Firstly, if you go to the top screens on the Explore page, which is the landing page, you have a My Watchlist filter. And when you click that, the system brings together all the insights that have met my criteria in the last 2 weeks. Since I only picked a few assets on my watch list, I don't really have too many insights relating to them. But the more assets you have on your watch list, the more number of insights you have, which will pop up here. Another way to keep track of assets that you've added to your watch list or you've added to your portfolio is by going to My Toggle here on the top left. If you click that,
okay, I'm going to change for those.
And if you click that, you can think of this as your notification center. So assets in your watch list will pop up here, and then insights related to those assets will be over here. You can filter them based on bullish assets, bullish insights, bearish insights, or ones that you just haven't read. So they'll be waiting for you here to check them out. If you connected your portfolio, you go to the next tab on the left, next to watch list, and you'll have your holdings listed here, and then the insights relating to your holdings over here. An extra cool thing that Toggle does is, if you connect your portfolio, is it understands your position and it gives you an extra warning if it thinks that, for example, if you're long an asset and you have downside risk present, it'll say, hey, by the way, here's an extra, piece of note that you do have an insight that says that an asset in your portfolio could have negative downside over the next few weeks. So you get that extra notification from the system to give you a heads up. So that's risk management, ways for you to keep track of assets on your watch list, assets in your portfolio, and always stay notified so you never miss an insight. Like I said, you'll get notified through your notification center, which is My Toggle, or your email, or if you download the iOS app directly to your phone. So that's 2, risk management. And now number 3, investment due diligence. Let's say I wanted to get into Nike stock, but before I got into Nike stock, I really wanted to understand what was driving the price of the asset. So if I go to the top right here, where this magnifying glass is, I can click that and I can search up, here you can search up one of the many, I think almost 30,000 assets that we cover. And we have assets ranging in India, China, Thailand, US, Mexico, Brazil. They're all in here. You just got to search them up. And if it's not here, when you do search it up, you can just click a let us know button, which will drop down, and that'll let us know to update that asset. And so let's search up Nike. Click Nike. And once yeah, perfect. So this is our new asset overview. What we did was we really enlarged the graph to make it as interactive as possible to really show you what exactly was driving the price of an asset. Over here, you have the price. Since the market is shut right now, it's the last close price, but during the day, it will be a live ticker. Again, if you want to add assets to your watch list, you can also do that by searching up the asset and adding it to your watch list from here as well. Another way to understand what exactly is going on the graph is by reading this little legend over here. So green arrows pointing upwards are bullish insights, red arrows pointing downwards are bearish insights. If an arrow has a golden trophy next to it, that means that the insight has been achieved. So what does that mean? Well, with every insight, Toggle gives you a median prediction of what it believes the price of an asset could be over an X investment horizon. So for this insight, for example, the predicted price was $140.97 based on where the golden trophy is on the y-axis. And seeing as the price did cross that amount, then this insight was marked as complete, as well as the rest over here. If you want to further look at an insight, you can just click on the arrow and a preview will pop up on the right side, or we can go through it in another way, which I'll show you in a second. So when you first open up asset overview, you'll first come to this little rocket symbol that shows you what's moving the asset. Well, there are many different things that are moving the asset based on the active insights that we have over here. But an additional thing that the Toggle team has included are news insights. And what that is the system basically is able to go through publications relating to the asset, analyze it, and say, what could be the effect of this publication on the price of my asset? For example, here, Lululemon is expecting its earnings this week, and the system believes that this could have a bullish direction on the price of the asset. And that is also available here based on these little news icons. Another cool thing that Toggle does is that it shows you the key values over here, this little middle section. And looking at things like forward PE, EPS growth, dividend yield, Toggle gives you an extra helping hand by showing you how this value relates to history. So currently, Nike's forward PE looks expensive relative to history. Lastly, looking at related assets, we put together all the assets that we believe are most correlated to Nike over here, and we believe would have the system believes would have an effect if there was a movement in Nike price and vice versa. So those are the three reasons why someone would use Toggle: idea generation, being able to look at ideas based on filtering and making a criteria that's relevant to you; risk management, being able to be notified about whenever an insight is released relating to an asset on your watch list in your portfolio; and then lastly, investment due diligence, really understanding what's driving the asset. So before we jump into how to read an insight, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, we have actually a couple. I'll just read them out in the chat here. The first question was, will Toggle be inside Interactive Brokers platform or only on its webpage?
So Toggle is only on Toggle's website. You can, if you have an Interactive Brokers account, you're able to make an account through IB with Toggle, but Toggle AI and the platform is only available on toggle.ai.
And actually, maybe one thing to add to this, let me turn on the video here. One of the things that's worth adding is that increasingly the integration will be such that, we expect by sometime Q1, Q2, you'll be able to even just send trades directly to IB from Toggle. So there is going to be more and more integration, but the idea is that you access the dashboard and the portfolio directly from the Toggle website or the mobile app, whichever one you prefer using, and we'll make it as seamless as possible. And then the second question is, how are the ideas generated? Are they based on backtesting of history of the stock or ETF on the impact of macroeconomic variables or company-specific news flow?
That's a good question. So going back to the landing page, I should have mentioned this, so thanks for pointing this out. But at the top over here, you can see that Toggle has analyzed about 3.5 million different data points to come up with 1,606 insights. So these data points are everything from PE, EPS, price level, and other fundamental technical indicators of an asset. And then using those different points, those different data points, Toggle studies history to see, okay, is there a gap or an arbitrage opportunity here? A high level, sharp drop, something oversold, something overbought. And using that, it puts together insights about what it believes could be the effect of that event on the price.
Perfect. That's all the questions for now. Maybe just again as an addendum, one good thing about having a machine that is sifting through the data is we really don't have to limit ourselves to any particular category of data. So currently we look at both macro and company specific stuff and price data. At the moment, it's what you would call structured data. So things that actually are in a reasonably organized form. At the same time, with the news, we really started also the expansion into the so-called unstructured data, and we'll increase studies and analysis of that. So you'll see a lot of event-driven analysis and so on, where we'll be looking back to past earnings announcements, we'll be looking back to past Fed announcements, and also studying whether or not those have typically been in any way relevant for the assets that the system is able to analyze, which, as Karin mentioned earlier, is now up to 30,000. So really a lot of exciting things still to come.
Thanks, Jan. So just to wrap things up, let's actually study an insight and what an insight is and how do you read it as a user. So I'm going to use the filters to choose an insight. I want to look at an 8-star insight, the best insights we have to offer. I want an equity. Specifically, I want a US equity. So the system basically pulls together insights from the last 2 weeks that meet these 3 pieces of my criteria. And let's pick this first one. So the way you can start by reading any insight is by looking at the title, the information underneath, or looking at the summary. We really try to break it down and make it as easy as possible for you to see what this insight is about, where is it headed, and what could be the effect. So in this case, upward MACD cross in Woodward, and the system believes that this is the event, and it believes that a price could rise as about 10% over the following 6 months. Looking at backtesting results, Toggle has analyzed this similar occasion about 37 times in the past and has used those past events to predict the future potential return. And it received 8 out of 8 stars. We'll talk about that in a second, but it basically meets 8 out of 8 of our conditions. Then looking at the summary as well on the left, you can see that the asset being talked about here is Woodward, traded on the NASDAQ. This is a bullish insight, received 8 stars, 9.9% target return over the next 6 months. And in the last 37 times that Toggle analyzed this occurring, about 79% of the time we saw about a 9.9% return over the next 6 months. Looking at that on a visual basis, we have this little graph here. The gray line is where the price currently was, so $119.93 on September 3rd. And Toggle has a median prediction of $131.81 over the next 6 months. This shaded area around it is the confidence interval. So using the past 37 times that this has occurred, we could see movement anywhere in the shaded area, but Toggle most likely believes that median prediction would be in this pattern. The red line is a stop loss. We give that to you to kind of say, hey, if the asset price were to hit this level, that means that there's something else at play here, or an externality at play which has not been recorded in the past. So this insight is no longer valid. If you want to learn more about anything I just said, you can look at this information up here. We also have a few links in there to take you to videos to understand exactly what this graph is about.
We have one more question here for the analyzed chart now. And the question is, what are the icons on the analyzed chart? I understand the green up, but not sure what the others mean.
Sure. So let's go ahead. So thanks for that question. So the green up arrow is a bullish insight. The red down arrow is a bearish insight. If the arrow has a golden trophy next to it, that means it's been completed, which means that the asset price has reached the median prediction level. If it's got a little angry face next to it, like this up here, that means that either the time horizon was complete, meaning the asset did not hit that price in the predicted time horizon, or it hit the stop loss, which meant both resulted in it being incomplete. And then the news icon are the news highlights, which Toggle has put together.
Perfect. No more questions this time.
Perfect. So let's finish going through exactly how to analyze an insight. So once you've done this, if you go to the more detailed section, we have the why it might move graph. This is basically a time series that shows you when in the last X amount of years has Toggle seen this event occurring. So each bar shows that. And what Toggle does is it takes that information and says, okay, I've seen this happen in the past. What happened after that? And using all the 37 times that it saw this happening and what happened after, it's able to see, oh, hey, I've seen this before and I've seen what has happened after that. It can predict what's going to happen after that, or what's most likely going to happen after that. Like I said at the start, we're not a buy-sell signal. It's not a 100% prediction. We're just trying to show you what the data is saying and what could potentially happen. Scrolling down, if you want to specifically look about when exactly this has happened, you can put down this drop down and it'll show you all the different episode dates where Toggle saw this event occurring. Toggle also goes and analyzes all the different investment horizons to try and find the best one. It's the one with the highest median return and highest hit rate ratio. And the reason we do this is, let's say you wanted to trade on a 1 month horizon. This is most likely the median return you could expect and the hit rate. But Toggle has stated that the optimal trading horizon for this driver is 6 months in this case. Scrolling down, looking at the insight quality checklist. So this is how we award our insight stars. So the minimum you'll ever see is a 5-star insight. If it doesn't hit 5 stars, it won't be on the website. And then the max is 8 stars. If it has 8 stars, like this one does, that means that the insight has met all 8 conditions. Things like condition occurring over expansions and contractions in the business cycle. This event happened 37 times in the past, so it meets this condition. Notable relative to history, high historical hit rate, high accuracy out of sample, attractive risk reward. If you want to learn more about what each one means, just hover over the little question mark, and there's a little write-up there for you to learn more about it. And then lastly, these are the past performance graphs. On the left side is a time series graph that shows you the cumulative return had you invested $1 at the start, the first time an insight was released. The aim of this graph is you want to see a high cumulative return and not much drawdown. On the right side is a scatter plot. On the x-axis is what Toggle predicted. On the y-axis is what actually happened. The aim of this is to show you the risk distribution, to show you that, hey, you could see returns of almost less. You could lose about 20% of your investment, but at the same time, you could even get returns as high as 60%. The cluster of the data was majorly between 0 to 40%. If you want to read more about that as well, we have some information here for you. And if you want some further clarification about anything on this page, if you go to the bottom right, where this orange and blue circle is, our help robot pops up. And here you have a video of how to read the insight and an explanation of all the different sections. If you want some more clarification, just click need more help and you'll get direct access to a chat with someone on the team who will be ready to answer any and all of your questions. So I'm going to pause here. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions in the chat.
Awesome. So I think, yeah, let's just go through chart quickly. So the charting function is, if you really like graphs, the charting function is really great for that. So we can put on, let's do Nike again. And here what you can do is, not only can you just plot the price, but if you click price and drop down, you can plot all the different indicators. Things like seasonality, trailing EPS, forward EPS, EBITDA, volume, in order to help you, make better decisions, investment decisions, kind of guide you. Another cool thing is on the top right here, if you switch on Toggle Insights, we have all our insights previewed on the graph, so you can exactly see what is driving the price of the asset. So now that we've gone through Toggle, just some things to wrap up the session, ways for you to get help. So you can go to the help robot over here, which has direct access to chat with someone on the team. If you go to the top right and click help, that'll also take you to our Copilot guide and our FAQs, where we've put together the most common questions you received and answers to them. And then if you want to get into contact with the team, there are a few ways to do that. You can email us at support@toggle.ai, message us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as well. We have a few videos up there. I'll send you guys all a list of different resources that you can use to help you through your time on Toggle and get the most out of your subscription. And then lastly, if you want to go to toggle.global, that's our main website. You can check out all the exciting things we're doing, learn more about the team and the company. And that's all from us. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here.